Have you ever looked at your protein shake and thought, this is keeping me healthy? What if I told you that very same shake could be silently speeding up kidney failure faster than a daily donut habit? I know that sounds unbelievable, but I've seen it over and over in my patients. They walk into my clinic exhausted, swollen, confused about why their labs keep getting worse even though they've been doing everything right. The truth is they're following advice that works for healthy people, but for kidneys that are already struggling, it can be disastrous. Every scoop of the wrong protein can unleash a hidden storm of phosphorus, acid, and nitrogen waste that your kidneys simply can't clear anymore. And here's the part that shocks most people. These aren't fast food junk choices. They're the so-called healthy foods sitting in your fridge right now, labeled natural, high protein, lean, or clean. But while you're trying to build strength, your kidneys may be drowning in metabolic waste, quietly suffocating day after day, until one morning your lab results sound the alarm. I'm Dr. Johnny, and in the next few minutes, I'll show you exactly which proteins are secretly destroying your kidney filtration and which ones can actually help your kidneys heal and regain power. This isn't about fear. It's about taking back control before irreversible damage happens. Because once you understand the difference between protein that builds you up and protein that breaks you down, you'll never look at your meals the same way again. Most people believe protein is pure health. Build muscle, stay strong, live longer. That's the mantra we've been sold for decades. But here's the uncomfortable truth. When your kidney function drops below 60%, that same protein power turns into a toxic overload your body can't handle anymore. I remember a patient named Thomas, 58, gym goer. Never smoked, rarely drank. Every morning he started with eggs and bacon, sometimes a protein shake for extra energy. His blood pressure crept up, ankles started to swell, and he couldn't understand why. His doctor kept increasing medication, yet nothing changed. When we ran his labs, his creatinine had doubled in 2 years. What was slowly killing his kidneys wasn't a lack of discipline, it was the healthy routine he trusted. Here's what most people never hear. Every gram of protein breaks down into nitrogen compounds, phosphorus, and acid. In healthy kidneys, these byproducts leave your body effortlessly. But when your filters, your nephrons are damaged, they clog like old coffee filters. Waste builds up in your blood, thickening it, poisoning it, slowing every organ that depends on clean circulation. Fatigue, foggy brain, nausea, swelling. Those are not random symptoms. They're SOS signals from your kidneys begging for relief. And according to research from the National Kidney Foundation, nearly 37 million Americans are already in some stage of chronic kidney disease, and 90% don't even know it. That's the silent tragedy. Most people feel fine until the damage is irreversible. So if you've been drinking protein shakes, piling on meat, or chasing the latest high-protein trend, because everyone online says it's healthy, pause. The truth isn't that protein is bad. It's that the wrong kind of protein, in the wrong amount at the wrong stage of kidney health, quietly flips from fuel to poison. But only knowing this isn't enough, because there's another hidden factor that makes this problem explode even faster, one that's probably sitting in your refrigerator right now. But just knowing this isn't enough, because there's another factor even more dangerous hiding in your everyday food, and almost nobody notices it. When most people think of dangerous foods, they imagine soda, fries, or dessert. But for your kidneys, the real threat often hides behind the word protein. Processed meats, bacon, ham, cold cuts, turkey slices look perfectly normal, yet they act like slow-release toxins for your renal system. They're the Trojan horses of modern nutrition, dressed up as healthy, yet armed with hidden chemicals that overwhelm your kidneys day after day. Take Robert, 64, a retired teacher who prided himself on clean eating. Every lunch he stacked lean turkey on whole grain bread, skipped fried foods, and drank plenty of water. He couldn't understand why his ankles puffed up or why his blood pressure refused to calm down. When we traced his meals, the truth was brutal. Those turkey slices were loaded with sodium phosphate, a preservative designed to lock in moisture and flavor, but deadly for struggling kidneys. Here's why it's so dangerous. Phosphates added to processed meats are inorganic, and the human body absorbs nearly 100% of them. That's double the absorption rate of natural phosphorus in real food. The excess phosphate then steals calcium from your bones, hardens your arteries, and accelerates kidney scarring. One small sandwich can contain more phosphorus than an entire home-cooked dinner. Add to that the sodium, often 700 to 1,000 milligrams per serving, and you've built the perfect recipe for hypertension, swelling, and fluid overload. Scientific reviews from the European Journal of Nutrition and the American Society of Nephrology confirm that regular intake of phosphate-enhanced meats sharply increases cardiovascular risk and speeds kidney decline, even in early CKD stages. Yet grocery aisles keep marketing them as lean, fit, and heart smart. It's deceptive branding at its finest. So what should you do instead? Replace the convenience trap with real food. Bake or grill fresh chicken breasts, switch to wild white fish, or enjoy organic tofu seasoned with herbs instead of salt. These choices deliver protein without the phosphate assault. Your kidneys don't need perfection, they need a break. But just knowing this isn't enough, because the next source of healthy protein doesn't come from your fridge at all. It comes from your blender. Millions drink it daily, believing it builds strength when in reality, it may be pushing their kidneys toward failure even faster. You might think you've escaped the trap of processed meats by swapping your sandwiches for a clean, convenient protein shake. It feels smart, right? Quick, easy, healthy. But here's the twist. Those glossy tubs of protein powder might be doing more harm to your kidneys than any slice of bacon ever could. I'll never forget David, 52, a software engineer who wanted to get fit again. Every morning and evening, he mixed a double scoop of whey isolate, proud of his discipline. Yet within a few months, his lab results told a different story. His creatinine levels climbed, his energy dropped, and the fatigue he thought was from overwork was really his kidneys crying for help. The science behind it is simple but brutal. Whey and casein isolates deliver 20 to 30 grams of protein in minutes, a shock dose your body would never encounter naturally. For healthy kidneys, that's a workout. For damaged ones, it's chaos. Your nephrons have to clear all the nitrogen waste and phosphorus generated in one sudden surge, like trying to drain a flood through a straw. Researchers from the American Journal of Kidney Diseases found that high-dose protein supplements in people with reduced GFR increased creatinine and blood urea nitrogen in just 4 weeks. And that's not all. Many powders hide synthetic phosphate salts to make them mix better and last longer. These phosphates absorb almost completely into your bloodstream, spiking phosphorus levels that silently calcify arteries and erode bone density. You won't see it on the label. It's often disguised under names like sodium hexametaphosphate or calcium caseinate. So if your daily ritual involves scooping powder into a shaker, thinking you're fueling progress, you might actually be accelerating decline. The better path: replace those shakes with real whole food proteins, egg whites, baked white fish, organic tofu, slower to digest, easier to filter, far gentler on your kidneys. Your body doesn't need shock doses. It needs balance. But this story doesn't end here, because even among natural proteins, one popular choice carries a hidden risk that few people ever talk about, a risk buried not in the powder, but in the meat itself. And it's one most people still eat every week without realizing what it's doing to their kidneys. And here's where things get even more deceptive. Because while protein powders overload your kidneys instantly, another form of healthy protein hurts them slowly. One steak, one burger, one dinner at a time. I'm talking about red meat, beef, lamb, even those fancy grass-fed cuts that look like they came straight from a health magazine. They may build muscle, yes, but they also build something else: acid, uric acid, and inflammation that eats away at your kidneys from the inside out. I once treated Helen, 68, who loved her weekly steak nights with her husband. She believed she was making the right choice by choosing lean cuts, grilling instead of frying. But month after month, her uric acid kept climbing. Her blood pressure wouldn't settle. When her GFR dropped below 45, she asked me, how can something so normal be so damaging? The answer was hidden in her plate. Red meat is dense with purines, natural compounds that metabolize into uric acid. For healthy kidneys, clearing uric acid is easy. But when your filtration rate falls, that acid lingers, forming crystals that irritate and scar the delicate nephron tubes. Over time, this microscopic damage compounds like sandpaper, grinding away at a fragile surface. Research published in JAMA Internal Medicine, tracking over 63,000 adults for 15 years, found that each additional daily serving of red meat increased chronic kidney disease risk by 23%. It's not just about uric acid. Red meat also carries a heavy acid load that throws off your body's pH balance, forcing your kidneys to neutralize it by leaching minerals like calcium and magnesium from your bones. Add the saturated fats that clog microvessels, and the story becomes clear. What we call protein power is actually metabolic pressure. Pressure your kidneys can no longer withstand. When Helen finally replaced 2 of her steak dinners a week with white fish and tofu, her labs began to shift. Her uric acid fell. Her energy returned. For the first time in years, her numbers moved in the right direction. That's the power of eating in alignment with your kidneys, not against them. But even this isn't the end of the story, because not all plant-based proteins are safe either. There's one food that most people believe is the perfect kidney-friendly alternative, yet it hides a triple threat of sodium, potassium, and phosphate additives that can silently push your kidneys to the edge. And chances are it's already in your pantry. Most people trying to protect their kidneys eventually turn to plants, thinking that's the safest route. And yes, plant proteins are generally gentler until you open a can. Canned beans, black beans, kidney beans, chickpeas. The very foods people believe will help them heal can quietly tip their potassium and phosphate levels into dangerous territory. I met Gloria, 59, a stage 4 CKD patient who swore by her daily bean salads. She was doing everything right, or so she thought. No red meat, no soda, no junk food. Yet her potassium levels kept skyrocketing and her bones were weakening. When we looked deeper, the answer was sitting right on her kitchen shelf: canned beans, the healthy kind packed with salt and phosphate preservatives. Here's why that matters. A single cup of canned beans can contain over 600 milligrams of potassium and up to 500 milligrams of sodium, thanks to the brine they're stored in. For healthy kidneys, that's manageable. But when your filtration rate drops, excess potassium builds up in the blood, interfering with the heart's electrical rhythm. It's called hyperkalemia, and it's not just a lab result. It can trigger sudden cardiac arrest. And that's just half the problem. Many canned beans also contain phosphate additives, the same inorganic compounds found in processed meats. These are absorbed almost completely, unlike natural phosphorus from food. Over time, they trigger hormonal changes that strip calcium from bones and harden blood vessels, a process called vascular calcification. Studies in the New England Journal of Medicine have shown that uncontrolled phosphate levels are directly linked to higher mortality in kidney disease patients. So while beans themselves are healthy, the way they're prepared can turn them into kidney stress bombs. The fix is simple but powerful. Choose dried beans, soak them overnight, and cook them yourself without added salt. Just that one change can dramatically lower potassium and sodium levels. When Gloria switched to homemade beans and controlled her portions to half a cup, her labs finally stabilized. Her potassium normalized, her energy returned, and for the first time she felt in control instead of scared. It's a powerful reminder that the difference between healing and harm often comes down to the smallest detail: how you prepare your food. But there's good news ahead, because not all proteins are enemies. In fact, there are 4 that do the exact opposite. They support your kidneys, nourish your body, and help restore balance from the inside out. And the first one might surprise you. It's one of the simplest foods in your entire kitchen. After everything we've covered, you might feel like every food is out to get your kidneys. But here's the beautiful twist: healing doesn't always come from something exotic or expensive. Sometimes it begins with the simplest thing on your plate: white rice. I know what you're thinking. Rice, isn't that just empty carbs? Not exactly. When kidney function declines, white rice becomes one of your best allies. It's low in potassium, low in phosphorus, and provides clean, gentle energy that keeps your body from breaking down muscle tissue for fuel. Think of it as a cushion for your kidneys. It absorbs the daily metabolic shock so your filtration system can rest. There's real science behind this. A half cup of cooked white rice contains only about 2 grams of protein and minimal phosphorus, far less than brown rice or whole grains. That difference matters, because when your kidneys struggle to clear phosphorus, even small savings add up to major protection over time. And the glucose from rice helps spare muscle breakdown, preventing the rise of nitrogen waste products like bun and creatinine. I had a patient named Aaron who was terrified to eat carbs. He'd been told carbs are bad, so he cut them all out. But with low kidney function, that approach backfired. His energy plummeted, and his body started breaking down its own muscle for fuel, flooding his blood with waste. When we reintroduced small portions of white rice alongside balanced proteins, his labs improved and his fatigue disappeared. So don't fear rice, use it strategically. Pair it with small servings of kidney-friendly proteins like tofu or fish. It's not about perfection, it's about balance. The goal isn't to starve your kidneys, it's to support them. Because the next food takes that support even further. It's plant-based, rich in healing compounds, and so gentle on your kidneys that researchers are now calling it a protective protein. You've probably passed it in the grocery aisle hundreds of times without realizing what it can do. If white rice gives your kidneys a place to rest, this next food helps them rebuild. It's humble, plant-based, and far more powerful than most people realize: organic tofu. I know tofu doesn't sound exciting, but don't underestimate it. Inside that soft, pale block lies one of the cleanest, most kidney-protective protein sources on the planet. I once worked with Patricia, 66, who had been battling stage 3 kidney disease for years. She'd tried every supplement, every special diet, but nothing stabilized her labs. When we switched 3 of her weekly meat meals to tofu-based dishes, grilled, baked, or lightly stir-fried, something incredible happened. Within just a month, her bun levels dropped, her energy came back, and her constant brain fog lifted. She looked at me and said, "Dr. Johnny, I didn't think something so simple could make such a difference." The reason tofu works so well lies in its chemistry. Unlike animal protein, soy protein creates far less acid during digestion. That means less metabolic stress on your kidneys and better acid-base balance in your blood. Research from the Journal of Renal Nutrition and the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition shows that soy protein doesn't trigger the same glomerular pressure that accelerates kidney scarring. In fact, its natural compounds called isoflavonoids have anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties that can slow the progression of chronic kidney disease. And tofu's versatility makes it easy to love once you learn how to cook it. Slice it firm and bake it with herbs. Crumble it into a savory scramble. Blend silken tofu into a smoothie for a protein boost without any phosphate overload. Choose organic, non-GMO varieties and season them with lemon, garlic, or fresh herbs instead of salt. Tofu is living proof that protecting your kidneys doesn't have to mean giving up satisfaction or flavor. It just means making smarter swaps. And if you're someone who still craves the texture of real meat, don't worry. The next food brings you the best of both worlds: rich flavor, satisfying texture, and a remarkable ability to heal instead of harm. It comes from the ocean, and it might just become your kidney's new best friend. If tofu is the gentle healer, this next protein is your kidney's reset button. Clean, pure, and loaded with exactly what damaged kidneys crave: balance. I'm talking about wild-caught white fish, especially cod. It's tender, satisfying, and most importantly, it delivers high-quality protein without flooding your body with phosphorus purines or metabolic acid. Richard, 71, used to dread his lab appointments. His creatinine kept creeping higher, and no matter how carefully he ate, nothing seemed to stabilize it. When we swapped out his chicken and red meat meals for baked cod twice a week, the change was dramatic. Within 2 months, his phosphorus levels normalized, his swelling disappeared, and he told me, "For the first time in years, I don't feel heavy inside." Here's why that happens. A 3-ounce serving of cooked cod gives you about 20 grams of complete protein, but only around 117 milligrams of phosphorus, far less than beef, pork, or even chicken. It's also naturally low in saturated fat, which helps protect blood vessels and maintain healthy circulation to your kidneys. The omega-3 fatty acids found in fish, while not as concentrated as in salmon, still help calm inflammation, one of the main drivers of kidney damage. Studies published in the Clinical Journal of the American Society of Nephrology have shown that people who eat fish regularly tend to have better kidney function and slower disease progression. It's not magic, it's simply giving your body a protein source that works with your kidneys, not against them. And when it comes to cooking, keep it simple. Bake it, steam it, or poach it gently with olive oil, herbs, and lemon. Avoid frying, breading, or heavy sauces that undo all the benefits. Wild white fish proves that eating for kidney health doesn't have to be restrictive or boring. It's flavorful, satisfying, and healing all at once. But if you prefer something even simpler, something you can prepare in seconds, costs almost nothing, and offers nearly perfect nutrition for your kidneys, then the next protein is the one you've been waiting for. It might just be the closest thing to perfection your kidneys will ever taste. If there's one food that comes closest to perfection for your kidneys, it's this, the simple overlooked egg white. Not the yolk, not the whole egg, just the pure clean white. It's the gold standard of protein, almost tailor-made for people with kidney concerns. Why? Because it gives your body everything it needs and almost nothing it doesn't. I remember Susan, 63, who came to me exhausted and frustrated. She'd tried cutting meat, tried powders, even skipped protein altogether because she was terrified of raising her creatinine. Her energy was gone. When we added 4 egg whites a day, scrambled boiled, sometimes blended into oatmeal, the results were stunning. Within 3 weeks, her phosphorus dropped, her bloating subsided, and she told me, Dr. Johnny, I feel light again, like my body finally exhaled. And the science absolutely backs that up. Egg whites contain about 3.6 grams of protein per egg, with just 2 milligrams of phosphorus compared to nearly 66 milligrams in a whole egg. They're incredibly low in potassium, sodium, and purines, which means they don't burden your kidneys, spike uric acid, or trigger fluid retention. The protein in egg whites, called albumin, has a biological value of 100, meaning your body uses nearly every bit of it without creating excess waste. That efficiency makes them the ideal choice for anyone managing chronic kidney disease. There's one simple rule: cook them fully. Raw egg whites can interfere with biotin absorption over time. You can boil them, scramble them with herbs, or even use pasteurized liquid egg whites for convenience. Just make sure the label says no added salt or preservatives. Egg whites are the proof that simplicity wins. You don't need fancy powders or expensive supplements, just real whole food in its purest form. They deliver perfect nutrition with almost no metabolic burden, helping you maintain strength, protect muscle, and ease the load on your kidneys all at once. And now that you know which proteins protect your kidneys, it's time to make them work for you. Because knowledge without action doesn't change lab results, your daily choices do. So let's talk about how to turn these insights into a practical, life-saving plan you can start today. Now that you know which proteins help and which ones harm, the real power lies in what you do next. Knowledge alone won't heal your kidneys, consistency will. Every meal is a tiny vote for your future health, and the kidneys quietly count every one of them. So let's make those votes count. Start with what I call a 3-day protein audit. Don't change anything yet, just observe. Write down every source of protein you eat or drink: breakfast, lunch, snacks, everything. When you see it on paper, the truth hits differently. You'll realize how many of those healthy proteins are actually loading your kidneys with sodium, phosphorus, or nitrogen waste. Awareness is step 1, transformation starts there. Next, make small strategic swaps. Replace your morning bacon with egg whites. Trade your deli sandwich for baked fish or a tofu stir-fry. Choose fresh over processed whenever possible. These tiny changes compound over time. They're the quiet decisions that reverse trends on your lab results. You don't need perfection, you just need direction. Then master one simple preparation method for each kidney-safe protein. Learn how to bake cod until it flakes perfectly. Keep a batch of boiled egg whites in your fridge for quick snacks. Try grilling tofu with a drizzle of olive oil and herbs. The easier you make these habits, the more likely you'll stick with them, and your kidneys will thank you for it every single day. Finally, spread your protein throughout the day instead of loading it all at once. 3 to 4 ounces per meal, spaced evenly, keeps your metabolism steady and your kidneys under less pressure. That's how you protect filtration without losing strength or vitality. Every small conscious choice adds up. Over weeks, your labs begin to shift. Over months, your energy returns. And over time, you realize you were never powerless. You just needed the right map. Because here's the truth. Your kidney function today is the result of thousands of past choices. But your kidney function 6 months from now depends entirely on what you decide to do starting right now. And that decision, that turning point, begins with your next meal. So take a deep breath, open your fridge, and remember, this isn't about restriction, it's about renewal. You have more control than you think, and every step you take from here can either drain your kidneys or help them heal. The choice, as always, is on your plate. You've made it this far, and that already says a lot about you. It means you care about your health and you're ready to take control instead of waiting for things to get worse. Remember, you don't have to change everything overnight. Small, consistent choices, one meal, one swap, one mindful decision, can completely change the direction of your kidney health. If this video helped you understand your kidneys better, don't just let it scroll away. Save it so you can come back whenever you need a reminder and subscribe to this channel. Every week, I'll share new science-based tips to help you protect your kidneys, balance your diet, and regain the energy you thought you'd lost. Hit that notification bell because I don't want you missing the information that could literally save your kidneys. And finally, remember this: you are not powerless. Even if your numbers have gone up, even if you feel tired or afraid, your kidneys still have a chance to recover, one smart choice at a time. Your next meal is your next opportunity. So take care of yourself, stay curious, stay consistent, and I'll see you in the next video.